I'm Housecatnick, and we're talking about original music, and today I have Sarah Teti with me. I met Sarah at a gig that I booked you for originally.
No, it was an open mic.
Open mic,
Yeah,
that's right.
It was a
That's
COVID,
how I met Al Reynolds.
It was a COVID open mic.
Yes, and your sister was in town from California at the time.
Yes.
And it ran long, and the host, Mark Mayer, was... I told Mark I was going to leave, and he said, no, you should play with these guys.
Yeah.
So we'll blame Mark.
Yeah. For everything.
You, of course, I see you on social media. You're playing all over the place, which is great. And you are, in my mind, a working musician doing wonderful.
Thanks.
But I also understand that you have just started recording some new material.
Yeah, for the first time in 15 years.
Yeah, back in the saddle, huh?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, why the big break?
I had children. Yeah, I recorded 2 albums, and the second one came out the month after my son was born, and he will be 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. What got you going, hey, it's time, for me to start writing again?
I think
recording.
I think you guys, being around musicians again. I think for a lot of years I just was in a mode of, working and taking care of family members and kids and all that kind of stuff. And when I started playing again and being around musicians, it's natural. It just naturally comes right back.
So it's osmosis in a way.
Yeah.
The community, basically,
Absolutely.
Musicians that are there.
All of you guys, really, like being around people who are writing music is a huge inspiration for writing music. I want to do better than you guys, clearly.
So speaking of inspiration, how do you get it?
I think it just bubbles up. I really do. Like I feel inspired all the time, but sometimes I'm inspired to learn a song that somebody else wrote, and sometimes it just explodes, and you're like, I have to put something out there. I have to write something down.
Exploding how? Like, is it like the music itself, or is it a lyric that pops in your head? Or
not usually lyrics, unfortunately, but music. Yeah, I hear something, and I have it just has to happen. Yeah,
and then you kind of hold on to it for a little while, and then. Or does it all come at once?
Sometimes it all comes at once. These recent songs came all at once. I mean, I wrote these songs like so quickly.
And how many songs on the new album? Do you have a final count yet, or are you still in the process?
I'm going to do 4 songs for now.
So it'll be an EP at the moment?
Yeah, and I'm probably going to revisit some of the old songs that I wrote a long time ago.
The older songs, have they been recorded already? Or?
They're all recorded,
So you're going to do new version? You're going to do a Taylor Swift?
Yes. Well, only there's a much larger gap in my recording than hers.
I also noticed that one of the new ones you sent me, I realized was co-written with somebody else.
Right.
And so how did that come about? And who is this other writer?
Yeah. So Fred Gary is a writer that I know, and he is a poet. He writes a lot of poetry, and he sends it out to me. He sends it out to a lot of different people. And a couple of times he sent me things where I have said back to him, those are lyrics. Like, I know you're not a musician, but this could easily be a song. And when he sent me Prayer for Sinead, I said, would you mind if I turn this into a song? And I felt that bubbling up of inspiration of like, I could turn this into a song today. Like, this is going to happen today.
And did it happen that quickly, or?
It did, actually. So I had the opportunity to be like house sitting for a friend who was out of town. I'm rarely alone. I never have space to write anything. So when she was going away, she said, just go into my house, play guitar, write songs, do whatever you want. And that was really so valuable to me to have that time. And I went into her house and I wrote that song in one afternoon. And that evening I sent it to him, and his response was cool beans. And I thought, oh.
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
Are we having Mexican tonight?
Right. But no, I think he liked it, and then it kind of grew from there. just like anybody does, I sent it around to people that I trust. My sister's a musician, my dad. I think I probably sent it to Al and just said, like, is this a song? I don't know. Is
Right.
it,
So, but while you were working with it, because I know this happens a lot, there's a lot of Facebook groups of songwriting and things like that where, people are always arguing it's not a song if there's no melody and things like that, etc. But you identified this writer's poetry
Yeah.
as lyrics. That being said, putting it to music, was there a lot of adjustments you need to do with like rhythm or meter with what he's written, or did it just fall naturally into what you wrote?
It was pretty natural. I did cut out a significant chunk of what he wrote. It was much longer. But no, it happened pretty naturally. And like the idea that a song has to have a certain kind of structure is something that I struggled with early in songwriting.
Like
It's got to have a verse, a chorus, a bridge, then it has to come back around, and then and we
so
have
the structure of arrangement, not necessarily structure of meter within.
Yeah, no, just the structure of the arrangement of the song, and that kills me because then you write a song and you think, oh, there's no bridge, so it's not really a song. And in fact, I think my sister said that, like, well, there's no bridge to the song, so it's not really a song.
And but how do you feel about that? Do you feel it's formulaic, or do you feel like
I think we need to get rid of it. Like, how many great songs do you know that don't follow that?
right?
And that person wasn't worried about it. They were just like, this is how I feel. I'm gonna get it out there. You know. Waiting by a dry creek for freedom to fall on me. I'm waiting by a dry creek for freedom to fall on me. Wait for joy in my own home, a fleeting I could not see. Forget that there are seasons, content and unrelenting blood. Forget that there are seasons, content and unrelenting blood. A child bought of worry, indifference understood. Wash me by the ocean, wash me and make me free. Wash me by the ocean, wash me and make me free. Wash me by the ocean, let the dry creek come to me. Can I find you in the water? Can you find me there? Can I find you in the water? Can you find me there? The tide pulls me under, salt water can take my fear. Wash me by the ocean, wash me and make me free. Wash me by the ocean, wash me and make me free.
let the dry creek come to me. Wash me by the ocean.
So I felt really, I think it's one of the best songs I've ever written. And I'm so excited about it because I didn't listen to anybody. I was, I did write a bridge and I was like, this is terrible. And I just threw it out. Like,
Right.
I'm done.
You followed your instincts.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, to your point about not listening to anybody, well, I don't know if you meant musically, but there have been musicians' interviews that I've read where they purposely turn off the radio or whatever streaming device when they're in that writing mode so that they don't get influenced. So that's, that's an interesting point on your part as well, that you were so focused on getting this song down.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's a good idea to one of the things that my dad taught me a long time ago is if you're in a writing block, you can sort of rewrite the lyrics to any song, right? Mm-hmm. So if you just know how to sing an old tune, rewrite the lyrics to it and then rewrite the chords, and now you have a new song.
Right.
And that helps with the meter of the song, right? Like you're like, oh well, everything fits in nicely, Yeah. But I've never been a great lyricist, unfortunately.
Is it something you struggle with?
Yeah.
So when you do write a song on your own, like where do the lyrics come from? Like, is it
outer space?
Outer space, just out of nowhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure in my 20s I wrote about my feelings a lot, mm-hmm. But it gets harder as you get older because things are more complicated. But
I'm sorry, the poet's name again is
Fred Gary.
Fred Gary. So did you get any input from him, or you just looked at his lyrics and he just said, "I can put music to it"? And
yeah, that was it. He said, "They're yours." Yeah, it was kind of natural. I mean, it's a kind of a repetitive poem, so it was like easy to find that kind of repetitive sound. I think that's what I usually do is if I start writing some music, I'll find a couple of words that just go into it, mm-hmm. and it'll go from there. So I'll squeeze the words in however I can. Huh. The first songs that I recorded in my 20s, You Darlin', was just a song that I wrote. In college, I used to say to my roommates, give me 3 letters between A and G, and they would just yell out letters, and then I would play those chords, and I would write a song.
Exercise.
Right, and I would play the songs that way.
You, darling, you always bring me down when I'm high. You, darling, you always use those words that sound like goodbye. You, baby, I don't know where you've been tonight, 'cause I came home to bed, you just killed the light, and you said goodnight. And I know that you're not right, no. And I know that you're not right. You, darling, you always bring me down when I'm high. You, darling, you make me wanna dance while I cry. And I know It's not right. No. Yeah, I know that you're not right. And I figured it out just the other day. Yeah, I figured it out. Sometimes not alright, might be okay. And I know that you're not right. No. Yeah, I know that you're not right. And I know that you're not right. No, 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 no. Yeah, I know that you're not right.
So what do your kids listen to?
Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. They listen to Joey Valance and Bray. Have you ever heard of?
No, I
okay.
haven't.
So they're
I
like
guess I'm going to do some homework later.
modern day Beastie Boys. They're actually great.
Yeah.
My kids loved EDM for a long time. Luckily, we're out of that.
So I guess that's not an influence for you.
Not so much. But right now, they're obsessed with Weezer. And the cool thing is that they're not just into Weezer. They want to know everything about how it was recorded, who produced it, how did they write the songs, who was playing on the songs. And that's like really exciting for me. I'm like, you don't just like the music, you want to know want to know how it was made. And that's great.
Like sit down and Google, or is there just common knowledge that you have?
We have had really long conversations about how music is produced, and you can see like their eyes like widen, like, wait, what? Like understanding collaboration and understanding how to work with other musicians. It's not easy. I mean, we know that. You butt heads a lot. It's very personal. And when you find someone that you can have that connection with, you never want to let it go, because it's like a language. Now you're speaking the same language.
Yes. I've always said that being in a band is a great lesson in that give and take, and that controlling of the ego as well, and the collaborative efforts that come between people. If you allow these things to happen and really look to serve the song first, you find how much these parts make that one thing that much better.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson that I kind of feel like that we're missing, that we're losing in the collaborative efforts. But that's really cool that your kids are really into that. Didn't know that your father was a musician. Like, was he a musician, or was he?
He always had a job.
But he always had a job.
Yeah.
But he did music consistently and all the time.
Consistently throughout my childhood, it was totally natural to me that he did. Like like your dad doesn't play music. What's the matter with your dad? It just was completely natural to me. It was never weird to me that was a thing in my life. And then other people would be like, what does your dad do? And I'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe it is a little weird. But no, he had a band called the Skater Brothers when I was a kid. And they played New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, the same kind of circuit, but all original music. They really didn't play very many covers at all.
So writing originals was already part of your life before you took it on your own.
Yeah,
just seeing
absolutely.
it from your father, I'm sure.
Yeah, and my sister started when she was 13, and she was playing Godfrey Daniels in Bethlehem, no fear, on stage with a guitar, belting it out to a crowd of old guys, and she was writing her own songs at that time, right?
Isn't there a story about you being fired from your sister's band?
Well,
You want to talk about that? You don't have to.
she says I quit. I say I was fired, but water under the bridge. But yeah, I was the bassist in her band for a little while, a very short while, because she fired me. And yeah, I had a couple other bands that I played bass in, not well, and then it really just took like one friend in college who was like, well, you could probably play guitar. I could play guitar. Like, let's play guitar together. And that's what starts it, right? Like, my dad always says, you don't really learn how to play guitar until you have somebody to impress. And I was in college. I was a lot of people I wanted to impress.
Right.
So yeah, I started writing songs really quickly. I got into the whole Spook Handy show thing. I don't know if you know Spook Handy.
I'm not familiar, but you're giving me a lot of homework tonight.
He was a big New Brunswick musician at the time, and he was really encouraging to young people. He's older than me, and he had an open mic that he ran every week, and he was just the kind of guy who, no matter what you did, he'd be like, great job, but here's what you should do. And always constructive criticism, never discouraging, always welcoming. And so that created this community, and we were all writing songs at the time.
I kind of feel like that's the one thing that discourages a lot of musicians or young musicians that are trying to get better are the elitists in some point. They're like, I play guitar, I do this, I do better. You need to be better at that. Like, oh, I don't want to play with you. And we need more of a community. Exactly, what you're saying from.
Yeah, and there are musicians who their goal is to become famous, and there's musicians who can't help but write songs, right? So, find the ones that can't help but write songs, because only this many of us get famous.
Yeah. I remember one time someone in the art world, because I'm also a painter, we were talking about the struggles of the art world, and this one person told me, well, you chose this. And my eyes rolled up in my head, because there's just some things you don't choose.
Yeah, it chose me.
Yeah. It's just who you are.
Yeah.
You posted recently, let's see if I can find it, about your frustrations about writing on
sometimes
Facebook.
it just comes right out, and sometimes nothing. It's like artistic constipation, why is it so hard sometimes, and sometimes so easy?
And did you put that up because that was a current thing that you were going through?
I was literally trying to write a song, because I think to myself, like, well, I have time right now. There's nobody here. Like, I have lots of space. I'll just sit down and write a song right now, and it doesn't work.
I mean, you brought up some interesting techniques about, like, looking to other songs, and I mean, do you still use those techniques?
I do. Yeah, absolutely. And like, sometimes it's just as simple as, like, just record what you have, even if you think it's shit, and come back to it later, and then you might hear it differently.
Exactly.
So I've been doing that a lot. I have 1 million voice memos on my phone.
Right. This has been great. I love hearing. There's some things that I've learned about you that I had no idea about, especially your father and stuff, and where it all came from. But I just want you to tell our viewers, all 22 of them. I would love for you to tell everybody, especially the young musicians that are out there that are trying to start, that are trying to find their way as original songwriters. But for people that are trying to learn how to, write, what would you tell them to do to get on that journey?
Well, I think that advice I was given was that you have to write 1,000 bad songs to get one good one. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think like any song can be good. Any song that you write can be good. So you just have to keep working at it.
Maybe 300 really bad ones, 700 mediocre.
Right. Well, but there's no right or wrong way to do it, right? Like I have a friend of mine that used to be in a band with Dan, and he could write a song every hour. And I think they're all great. And he's like, no, they're all shit. But like, I have to write 1 million songs, and then 10 of them will be really, really good. Right. But I disagree. I think a lot of his songs are fabulous, and if developed properly, they could probably be great. So just keep doing it. I mean, there's no wrong answer. Right? Like, look at some of the crazy stuff that people have written. since music has been around. Some of
Yeah.
it is nuts.
Right.
And people love it. So
Right.
like there's no wrong answer. That's my advice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured it out. Sometimes not alright. Might be okay. And I know that you're not right. No. But yeah, I know. But you're not right. And I know that you're not right.
How do we do?
I don't know. I fell asleep, but
Yeah, I don't blame you.
no.